I'm 55 years old. I've never been married, and I'm happy about it. Now, one could easily surmise that a past rife with some degree of promiscuity, dare I say, contributed to my desire to be single. But that is not the reason I am not upset about being single. Jeezy, how he filed for divorce from his wife, Jeannie Mai, after only 2 years of marriage. Former friends are saying she's after his money. I hope the Shade Room is watching. Because my nephew tipped me off to that site and I see some of the things y'all talk about. Oh, y'all welcome on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Please come. If Kevin Costner's monthly child support enables the children to maintain the quality of life he once provided, why should he have to pay extra so the wife that he's no longer with gets to maintain her quality of life? Y'all ain't together.
Okay, so that was Stephen A. talking about as to why he'll probably never get married and why he's happy that he'll never get married. And for the most part, I definitely agree with him for a couple reasons. Guys, let's just be honest. Marriage is done. Marriage is dead in the water. It's a closed casket. And I don't really see how it will ever change unless, a miracle happens. And the few reasons why, the number one reason why marriage is pretty much done is because the marriage laws are not fair, especially to the person who has the most money. And most of the time, it's always the man that has the most money in these marriages. Like, perfect example. So, you see what's going on with, I don't know if y'all familiar with Anthony Anderson. He's the guy who's in these Blackish TV shows and stuff. He's about to get a divorce right now. And he's ordered to pay $20,000 a month in spousal support. And if his net worth increases, he has to pay more upon having a kid as well with this woman. Why the hell is a man paying $20,000 in spousal support and he's not even with that woman anymore? Because you know what she's going to do? She's going to use all that money for herself and she's going to give it to the dudes that she's fucking. That's exactly what's about to happen. I don't understand how these laws demand that the man pays this. Matter of fact, forget the man. Anybody. Why the hell am I paying you all this money and I'm not even with your ass? That's something that I really don't understand. So in order for things to go back to the way they were, where people were actually getting married more often, these marriage laws have to change because it's not fair. And another thing too is that when women and guys who are lazy too, when they get into these relationships and they decide to legally extort their partner out of money anytime they want a divorce, basically there's some big ass leeches. Their plan was to always legally extort that person out of money 9 times out of 10. Let's be real. Why do you think certain marriages only last a couple years or maybe a year or two? Like, why do you think that is? Because the person who was willing to leave, particularly the woman, like, if we're just being honest, the woman is the one who always decides to leave in most of these situations. It's very rare that you see a man wanting to get to a divorce. But this is what scares a lot of men, is that a lot of women come into these marriages with successful men just to extract money out of them when it's convenient. So essentially, there's some big ass leeches, guys. Because for the most part, guys are not the one leaving these marriages. It's very rare you see it. Now you're seeing it, with Jeezy, and his wife. He decided to, file for divorce. But guys, that's an outlier. It's very rare you see a man wanting to leave his chick, and especially if he got kids with him. It's very rare you see something like that. But for the most part, that anytime when a person is thinking about extracting money out of you and they want thousands and thousands of $1,000s a month and they're not even with you, that was probably their plan all along. Like, that's just leeching as far as I'm concerned. I think that that law in there where you should be paying someone alimony in a marriage, I think that seriously has to be taken out if a marriages want to grow and evolve and change and it could go back to the way things were. Point number 2. Social media. Social media has changed everything, especially dating and marriages. The thing is that anytime when, like, human beings as a whole always think we can do better. That's just how we're wired, and it's always been that way. So if you're in a relationship with a girl or a marriage and you've been with her for a long time, you start thinking you can do better because now you've gotten comfortable with that person. So with social media, when you're seeing a whole bunch of different options, it can cause you to think about cheating or leaving the person that you're with. If you're a girl and you've been with the guy for a while, you think that another guy that you saw on social media can show you the world and you never met him a day in your life. And if you're a guy and you've been with the girl for a while, you start looking at other bad bitches on Instagram and you start thinking, damn, I want to fuck her instead of the chick that I've been fucking with these last year or two. You see some new ass and new titties and you start thinking that, maybe I got a shot. That's the problem. Social media has made people think that they can always do better, and they think they have more options than what they actually have, unfortunately. That's why a lot of girls, when they're in relationships with a lot of these guys, they get a lot of DMs, likes and comments and stuff like that. And, a bunch of thirsty guys in their DMs 24/7 trying to throw a lot of money at them, and they haven't even done nothing to earn it. Right. And then you have some guys. Well, the thing is, most guys don't get a lot of attention as opposed to the average chick. But let's say if you was a guy and you was in a relationship right now, I promise you a lot of girls will be putting you in your close friends. I promise you. Because you know what it is? Girls love taking another man away from another woman. So if you're in a relationship right now, best believe you're getting a lot of girls put in the close friends. I mean, a lot of girls are putting you in your close friends. So the moral of the story is people think they have more options than what they have. Why do you think it's so hard to find something good to watch on TV nowadays? If you have a bunch of channels or you have a bunch of streaming sites, whatever the case may be, it gives you a lot of options to watch a lot of things, YouTube, all that. So it makes your attention span a little shorter and you think you have a lot more options in terms of what you want to watch on TV. So social media is definitely the same way. And also, and this brings me to my third point, people are afraid of getting hurt. Anytime when you're constantly on the internet and you're seeing a lot of these celebrities getting divorced, constantly getting divorced, they don't like each other, they get real bitter towards each other, it can project fears onto you as to why you should never get married or even get into a damn relationship. Right? So, if you're seeing someone, getting divorced and they're miserable and their life sucks after that, it can scare you as to why you shouldn't get married. And that's what's going on with a lot of men today. The thing is, most guys are not afraid of getting married. They're afraid of their wife robbing the shit out of them in these divorce courts when she decides to walk. That's really the issue. All right, that's really the issue. So if people want things to change and they want more people to start getting married, alimony must get taken out, because that is one of the biggest headlines when people are always getting divorced. It's the alimony, it's the number on child support. They're going to court fighting for assets constantly. What's the fair price? And as far as I'm concerned, what you came in with is what you should leave with. End of the story. Anything that y'all built together, y'all split it 50-50. And this brings me to my last point. Unfortunately, most women are not really marriage material nowadays. So the thing is that I was just having a conversation with my guy a couple hours ago about this, and he was saying, how come girls don't initiate contact as much, right? Now, could it be because a girl's not really that interested in you? Yeah, it's possible. I'm not really denying that. But guys, you must understand that a lot of times girls won't initiate contact is because they've been structured to do this. It's like their game plan. They feel like a man should always do 100% of the pursuing at all times so their feelings can be protected. But guess what? That's not really the qualities of a girlfriend. It would mean so much to a man if you would actually do what you could to hit him up or see how his day was going. You'd be surprised what benefits you get when you actually decide to reach out to a man first instead of always thinking about yourself. That's just basic things any girlfriend would do. So if you can't even be a girlfriend, there's no way that you can be a wife, right? Most girls who are like girlfriend material, or they're at least showing signs of wife material, they know how to stay in one spot for a couple years. Most girls don't do that, man. Girls are run through men like athletes nowadays. They run through men like athletes. So in a man's mind, if you're sleeping with all these different types of guys, how am I supposed to take you seriously? Or at the very least, if you are going to be sleeping with a lot of guys, at least don't make it publicly known. That's another thing too, man. Like anytime when you're up there as a man, or you have a lot of money, status, whatever the case may be, you don't want to get publicly embarrassed. Because think about it, man. If you go out with your girl in that area, and a lot of girls have been with your girl, and you start bragging about, yo, man, I ain't confront, my girl got good pussy. In the back of their minds, they like, yeah, nigga, we know. I think that's probably every man's worst nightmare. All right, so most girls are just really not a girlfriend material nowadays. And also, too, I will say this, some guys can do better as well. Men are not really men as they used to be. You got a lot of guys who are super emotional, so that can definitely cause some chicks to not trust guys as they once did. But unfortunately, man, women don't really stay in one spot like they used to. They date like men nowadays, and that's causing a lot of trust issues with a lot of guys, especially a lot of guys who have a lot to lose. When you have a lot to lose, you're going to be a little more cautious of who you hang around, especially who you marry. So that's just the reality of the way things are in this day and time. But will it change? Maybe. Hopefully it does. But I don't really see it happening until you change these marriage laws. That's probably the number one reason why I think marriage is pretty much done. But that's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.